So, editing Rob here. Just keep in mind the intro of this video is not reflective for what is actually the content of this video. We'll be going over all of Loki, but tricks happened, so just roll with it, okay? Hey, what's up, my antimicrobial black currants? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today we are back with another installment of the yet-to-be-named Riven Reroll series. Now, as many of you guys know, on this channel, we tend to look for what I call unicorns. Now, unicorns are Rivens that are tailored specifically to your gameplay, things that fit you perfectly. Now, for those of you guys who've been watching the series, I'm sure that some of you are aware of the fact that I rolled a very, very powerful Hema Riven. However, after a little bit of gameplay, well, not even a little bit of gameplay, a lot of bit of gameplay, I kind of hate it. And thus is the nature of unicorns, something that, you know, might be right for a lot of other people out there. They might see the damage statistics and they're like, oh my god, it's so incredible. But when you're actually playing with it yourself, it doesn't feel quite as good. Oh, Billy. I'm so sorry, but legitimately, the Riven feels so powerful until you reload it. And I'm finding myself a lot of the times just suffering through that reload, because sometimes you gotta bring down nullifier bubbles, or sometimes you gotta take out enemies real quick, and if you've got a long reload in between, sometimes it just hurts. And no matter how powerful the Riven itself is, it just does not feel like it suits you. So let's go ahead and take a look at where we're standing with this one, because it's so good, and I wish I could have this minus the negative, and I'd even be willing to take a little bit of a hit through the positives. But as you can see right here, we have 213 critical chance, which, I mean, take it or leave it, I don't necessarily need. But then we've also got the 135.7 multi-shot, which is very, very nice. And then we've got the negative 31.7 reload speed, which actually puts it at a 2.9. So it's almost a 3-second reload speed, and I kind of absolutely hate it. So part of me is hoping that maybe we can retain the multi-shot, maybe get some base damage in there, something along those lines. And as you can see, we have invested quite a lot into this Riven already, 40 rolls. However, part of me is like, I've got like 100k more Kuva to go, so I might as well just go ahead and roll it. As you guys are also aware, I've been wanting to do kind of like an Infested series where I go ahead and show off my Loki build, my Pox build, my Hema build, and like my Momus build. But this kind of feels like a stain on the it's a stain on the Infested, which are already kind of like a stain. So I guess, I mean, it's fine, but really it's bugging me, so I figured we might as well go ahead and address it now. So let's jump in. And as you guys know, my hopes for this is multi-shot. I really, really do like that because of the fact that we are stripping a lot of enemy armor. Whatever it is that we're trying to proc on enemies, multi-shot just gives us more of those procs, which I'm very, very happy about. Again, the critical chance, I can take it or leave it. It's not necessarily something that I really need, especially since 213 critical chance only really brought us to 30-something crit, which isn't bad for something with as fast a fire rate as the Hema, but I feel like we could do better. And that negative reload speed really gotta go. What I'm kind of hoping for is like multi-shot, flight speed, base damage. That's what I'm looking for. So let's cross our fingers. I mean, that's a lot to ask. That's a lot of good. Oh! Wow! That was a short episode. I guess we're done now. Let's try this. I think we should be good. Maybe the rest of this episode can just be legitimately dedicated to showing off all of those builds that we were just talking about. But let's go ahead and give this a shot real quick. Ooh. But the thing is, that is critical chance though. Oh, that's juicy. That's juicy, that's juicy, that's juicy. Let's go ahead and try this out. I know it's negative damage to Grenier, but really with all of that, like, additional oomph, it's not really something that we need to worry about all that much. Wow. So we're gonna need to change the title of this video. Hopefully you won't get put off by all of that. But I guess we'll have to switch gears real quick. But before we do, let's go ahead and take a look at how this all works out with Mr. Cephalon Samir. Is like a gift. It was literally like a freaking gift. So let's take a look. Oh my god. Alright. It's not bad. It doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't feel as good. It's maybe because of the lack of the multi-shots. But let's see what our critical chance is now, right? Let's take a look at that. Our critical chance did jump up to 39%, so that's 40%. That's a really good Riven. I feel like it's a really juicy Riven. So I don't know, maybe I'm being greedy. I kind of want to roll it just a couple more times. If I get anything better, I'll definitely update you guys, but I don't think we're gonna get anything better than that. Literally, it has to be like multi-shot base damage and like flight speed or something along those lines. So I'll see you in a second and we'll see what happens. Well, honestly, that just kind of feels like the luck of a Loki, and if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, it's nice to have it back home with mama. Regardless, one of the big reasons why I actually wanted to go ahead and toss Loki a little bit more love is mainly because of the fact that even though I'm fairly well known as a Loki main, I don't actually get to play him very much. In fact, recently I haven't played him at all, and that mainly boils down to the fact that when it comes to content creation, whenever a new Prime is released, whenever a new Warframe is released, or new augments, or any mods that would kind of like alter the meta of specific builds, I'm always trying those out and really experimenting with them and making sure that any of the builds that I put out are played a lot and tested and just basically don't suck. So that really takes me away from playing the things that I want to play and kind of pushes me into playing things that I need to do on, you know, a video production level. So on one of my recent streams, I was kind of scrolling through our entire roster and I realized, wow, I just hadn't played Loki in a good long time. So I was like, hey, let's go ahead and break him out, farm some relics, and do all of that good stuff. And holy shit, I fell back in love and I was like, oh my god, I forgot that you were so good and I'm so sorry that I have not touched you in a while. And you know, us Lokis, we like to be touched. I'm just saying. Regardless, so I started bringing him around, not just for that stream, but also into other mission types, and I realized why I loved him so much. Now, I know a lot of people look at Loki as mainly a utility Warframe. Well, that's true-ish. One of the things that I'm a big fan of course, is Zaws. And you pair Loki up with a long-range Zaw, depending on what kind of content you're taking on, maybe more critical-based, maybe more status-based, it's all up to what you're fighting, but because of the fact that he is invisible for a majority of the time, he does get that stealth multiplier. So yes, he's utility, but if you play him right, he's also a bit of damage to boot. In addition to all of that, I like taking him on missions that I don't want to do, like rescues, spies, any of those things. I just don't want to deal with them. But Loki makes them fun and easy for all ages, as long as you know how to use Switch Teleport. You can get past lasers and everything is just hunky-dory. So as I'm kind of going through this week's Nightwave, I'm just finding I'm like, oh, I like him for mobile defense. Oh, I like him for spy. Oh, I like him for certain types of nightmare missions. And I just realized the fact that he's just so flexible. Like Loki mains, I'm just saying. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I enjoy playing him, is because of the fact that, legit, I just don't have to switch Warframes. I don't have to worry about builds, and as many of you guys know, there's a lot of times where I'll be on a live stream and I'll be like, oh, here's my mag, or here's my Saren. Don't remember what the build is, but I know my build was fucking awesome and I don't have to change it. And that's kind of how it is with Loki. I like just having one Warframe. I don't have to think about the build. I just know my build is good. I can bring it into almost anything that I do, and boom, mission is complete without any kind of struggle. Now, of course, there are going to be specific Warframes that are more optimized for specific mission types. But I just like the fact that Loki is a great general use, and let's be real, there's not a single fucking mission, really, in the general star chart that you couldn't bring basically any Warframe into. So why wouldn't you want a Warframe that you could bring into basically all of them and just have it be a breeze no matter what? You want to do a capture? Bring a Loki. he quick. You know what I mean? He can slide past all of those other enemies. No big deal. Then you gotta do a mobile defense for some reason. Maybe it's a syndicate mission and you have that on your Nightwave. Boom! You got your radiating disarm and you can defend that little area that you want. You know what I mean? It's just like whatever it is that you're trying to do, Loki pretty much got you. Oh, you got a vampire mode? You got a vampire mode nightmare mission or like a no shields vampire? It's okay. You're invisible. You can kill things real quick. No big deal. Loki just goes everywhere and does everything and makes things nice and simple. And that, as an old cripple Warframe veteran who's also lazy and really just doesn't want to fucking switch Warframes, that's what I like. So let's go ahead and jump into the builds that I've been using on him, as well as, of course, we're keeping in theme. We have our infested weapons, and let's take a look at that now. Now, real quick, for those of you guys who are curious, I am using the Loki Erebus skin, which is by Volbjorn. It is Tenogen. I will have all of the color codes listed for this down in the description box below, just in case you guys are curious, and I've just copied and pasted this into all of my weapons. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the build. This is my general use build, and as you can see, I've actually titled it General, and I don't usually fuck around with any of those settings up there, like renaming or configs or what is it called? The loadouts. I don't do all of that complicated loadout bullshit. I just like to load things up and be good. But this is going to be my general use build. So as you can see, we do have our survivability mods on there. We've got 2 efficiency mods, and this is focused mostly on range. But as you can see, we're at 205 range, but we're at 183 duration. So it's an invisibility, it's an irradiating disarm, you good, you efficient on your energy, you got your 2 arcane energizers, and you're good to go. It's a nice little general use build. Really, really like this one. Now the next one is my, what I like to call my leave me the fuck alone build. And this is gonna be my duration based invisibility build. I did go ahead and toss overextended in there so that we did have a little bit more range on the disarm, but keep in mind this is just standard disarm. This isn't irradiating disarm because I didn't have a spot for it. However, if you really wanted to, you could go ahead and sub in irradiating disarm for hushed invisibility. In addition to that, what I like to do with this is I like to toss on his safeguard switch. I really, really enjoy that for rescue missions. I mean, usually you're fast enough to kind of like breeze through everything, but if you've got like something with that you actually really, really need to protect your rescue target, you can go ahead and use safeguard switch on them to make them invulnerable. So that's always a nice little way to kind of keep your target protected. But y'all know, like swapping mods for an old crippled Warframe veteran, I don't always like to do that, but Hush Invisibility is always nice. This is also usually the build that I would take if I want to do like a long solo survival. Just keep that there and be able to kind of mow everything down. Now the last build is non-existent because I did not come prepared. Like I was saying, I'm lazy, but really what this last build would be focused on would be just pushing range to its limits and splashing in a little bit of duration, because what I like to kind of keep this last slot for is for group activities. That sounds dirtier than necessary, but legitimately, if I am going to be a radiating disarmer for a group and I want to have as much range as possible, that is what is going to be in that last slot, if I ever get around to it. I will at some point if I ever play with an actual group ever again. Let me make sure to swap back into my general build because I will forget. Next up we have the Hema, which, as you can see, is following along in our infestation theme. I cannot wait till I get my infested P going on. But as you guys can see here, we did push this up with 2 elemental status mods focusing on corrosive. Now, the reason like I run this is because of the fact that the Hema does have a base of viral. So now you have viral and corrosive, and basically what happens is on higher armor targets, because of the fact that you have such a high status chance, you're stripping off the armor, and then as that armor is coming off, or maybe coming all the way off, depending on how big your target is, that viral damage is kind of coming in, and that's the damage bonus that you're going to be able to enjoy from it. So basically, as the armor comes down, wait, what are you doing here? Oh, are you supposed to be in there? I don't think you're supposed to be in there. Ooh. Listen. I mean, yeah, it can be in there. Sure. Why the fuck not? Leave that in there. It's fine. Pretend you didn't see that. There are a lot of other mods you can put in that mod's place, and I'm sure I'll find a different mod to put in there, but you know, get creative. Next up, we have the Pox, and this one has a Riven in it too. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Do I like my Rivens? Now, I do believe that this is toxin based, and this leaves a gas cloud for about 4 seconds that lingers in a nice little area. Great with irradiating disarm, because you've disarmed the enemies and they clump together in a little melee. You know, they like to do a little bit of sword fighting. So what happens is when they're in their little sword fighting clump, you know, thrashing about at each other, you can go ahead and drop a couple Poxes in there, and then boom, they're all caught in their little clouds. I don't remember what this Riven is, but you can see that the rest of this build, pretty easy peasy. And then this one got multi-shot fire rate, and again, negative damage to Grenier. I feel like that's a trend that we're going on. So basically, this is an upgraded version of Lethal Torrent. I will take it, and I will be happy with it. The last one, I do not believe has a Riven, but because of the fact that this is the Infested theme, I figured that we would use the Momus. Everybody's always asked me about the Momus. It's something that you will see a lot on my Saren builds. Personally, I don't necessarily like using it as much on this specific setup because it is Loki and it is, what is it called? I prefer a little bit more critical on Loki than I do on here. In fact, what I would probably do on this is I would probably drop Healing Return, and I would probably go ahead and toss on, where are you? You skanky hooker whore. Blood Rush. That's what I would do for Loki. Now, the reason Healing Return is on there is because I actually use this with Saren. So Healing Return on Saren is absolutely fantastic because you have your spores. So every time you hit an enemy, number one, they're going to be hit with a little bit of toxin damage from her contagion, and then in addition to that, it's going to be the spore corrosive that's on there, so you're always going to be getting health back. But specifically for Loki, I would swap this over to Blood Rush so you get a little bit more damage out of this, because you won't necessarily always have an enemy with a status on it 100% of the time, like sometimes. So that's going to be the way that I actually go ahead and run with this. In addition to that, Exodia Force I was just playing around with because we like to do that. But no, that's right. Is that right? New weapon damage. Yeah, sure, that's right. And that is my setup for Infested Loki. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this very, very weird episode. And what I'm going to suggest that you guys do is go ahead and try a Warframe that you feel is like your main, or a Warframe that you loved ages ago. Go ahead and give them a little bit of a revisit, because I forgot how much I loved Loki. And legitimately, when you think of Rob, you think that he's a Loki main. Or like a Neja main for obvious reasons, but you know, I'm just saying, you need to separate that, okay? Keep in mind, Neja's not a trap, you're just a little bit gay. Putting that out there into the universe. Anyway, so that about does it for me for now. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your black currants, because they are also antiviral, antimicrobial. They're very, very good for your health, anti-inflammatory. Get some black currants in your diet today. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.